Sitting in front of me right now, we have Tony J Selimi, who is an internationally renowned speaker, author of 3 books. He has given speeches all over the world, the UN, and he's the coach, or should I say, the human behavioural expert behind Living My Illusion. So, Tony, we had Joe on earlier, and we spoke in depth about his experience and his journey of being on camera and going through this sort of self-discovery of finding his real path again. So we really want to get your perspective on it because you are his, I suppose, life coach, for a layman's term, because it can't be easy for you, you know. I would like to first start by just saying, you know, Living My Illusion, it really dives into the process of being a human behavioral expert, okay? And it shines a light on something that not many people necessarily understand. And I want you to, first of all, just tell us, you know, what do you want this documentary to accomplish?
There are 3 things I would love the documentary to accomplish. First is to raise awareness of one of the greatest issues that impacts every human being, which is the midlife crisis. And many people who go through a midlife crisis, if they're not looked after, it can lead to suicide. And we've seen recently in the press how many suicidal rates, especially at people at a high level of achievements, whether they're celebrities, whether they're CEOs or people who own their businesses, or people who actually go through divorce and they cannot cope with the stress. So that is point number 1. Second point, it's we've become distorted with the truth as humanity. And the point that I would love the documentary to really go out into the world, it's to help people understand that sometimes the truth becomes a lie and the lie becomes a truth. And if we do not speak our own inner truth, at some point our body reacts. So there's knock-on effect in the society, there's a knock-on effect in our well-being, there's a knock-on effect as leaders, there's knock-on effect in our relationship, intimacy with our children. So not being able to speak our inner truth have such a big effect in the world that costs trillions of pounds. So that is point number 2. And point number 3, it's about really understanding relationships and how we end up in relationships which are not fulfilling. And because of the massive expectations, because of what people think of us, because of we become people pleasers, we end up remaining in relationships which are not nurturing. And therefore not only damaging ourselves, but also damaging the person we're with and damaging potentially, if we have children, and every area in our life.
So this is something that we actually that we touched on quite a lot with Joel earlier, and it's, you know, this idea that we all, through no fault of our own and no malice, we end up telling lies to everyone, the people we love, you know, our friends, our family, ourselves, because we are conditioned in a way, or felt that we have to, that life is, or society is built in such a way that this is what you should aim for, this is how you should behave, this is how you should look, this is what you should want from life. And any idea that you're deviating from that, it's sort of seen as if people would reject it, would not agree with it, or society would put you down. And it's something that you keep inside, I find. You know, this is something that everyone goes through. So we all have these self-doubts within us, but none of us, or very few of us, have anyone we can really speak to about these things. So we only have ourselves, so we're doubting ourselves. There's no second person or second opinion that can tell us yes or no, or, you know, whichever one it may be. And bringing back to my point, the documentary really touches on how involved you as a coach or life behavioral expert are in your client's life, to the point you consider each other close friends. How do you rationalize that relationship? And you know, one would assume you have to keep some sort of professional distance, if so, you know, you're not having a biased opinion. How do you do that?
Basically, the first thing you need to do is to be a clean mirror within yourself. So, and I work with a range of tools. And when you transcend certain issues within the self, you start really shining light. Meaning, part of my work is basically taking my clients through the awareness they need to be able to find their own truth. Now, the relationship you build with every human being, it's inevitable no matter what you do. Meaning, there is, from a professional standards, you have to have professional boundaries with your clients. But those boundaries are not set in stones. They are fluid boundaries. And when you do intimate work with your clients, especially in Living My Illusion, we're talking about two people being in an intimate relationship who also run their own business and who also have many other different ventures together. I have to keep the boundaries in a way that basically complement both of them, because they're both my clients. Yeah. And they both turned for help to help them to bring their greatness out, to help them looking at where those illusions that they have in their own self, impacting their own relationship, impacting the business. So as a spiritual teacher, on the other hand, I create a space where it's very safe for my clients to bring up all of those things that normally they would not tell anybody, a soul. And every human being has secrets. Sometimes those secrets, we don't even know that they are secrets, because they're so buried deep in our consciousness that it takes a person to bring it out. For instance, if I use a metaphor, a clear metaphor, if you are in one of the most fastest car, let's take a Ferrari, okay? Yeah. And imagine you have the Ferrari, you go on the road and you have no rear windows and mirrors. It's dangerous. You won't be able to orientate yourself and to keep safe, not only yourself, but others. Similarly, a great mentor, great coach, great expert can look through your behaviors, can look through your thinking, through your values, through your beliefs, and literally go through your own operating system and being able to keep you on track and being able to help you go from point A to point B safely. Yeah. So the role of a great expert being able to really get to know the client inside out without literally giving them direction where they need to go. Because when you have all of those tools, the client itself, their own wisdom, their own truth, will choose the direction which way they need to go.
But I think what I'm thinking, I'm guessing a lot of people watching this and after they watch Living My Illusions will think is, surely it's quite an undertaking for you personally, because you have to be so involved in someone's life. I mean, do you ever worry that being so close will impair your judgment? Or even so that being so involved in someone's life, you might be emotionally damaged from it. I mean, how do you guard, because you have to be the rock that sort of guides them. So you're human. How do you get through that? Because you have to be strong. You have to make sure that, and it's different people have different problems and you're there exploring that. So, you're going to have that reaction. How do you stay above that?
Firstly, when there is love, there is no room for fear. Okay? So all what you've mentioned are fear-based responses that every human being has, including myself. But having become an expert in what I do, actually you start to build the resilience that you require within yourself to be able to remain very neutral and observing a situation without attaching emotions to what the client goes through. So it is a journey. And I did not end up working with people until I mastered that. Because I realized it can be damaging not only to me as a person, because I have doctors who come to me because they've seen a range of clients and they feel emotionally drained. And this is because we don't have self-mastery. When we start achieving self-mastery within ourselves, we're not there to feel emotions for another human being. Although we might have empathy, we might have compassion, but as an expert, you are in there to guide this person out of the emotion into the truth, into the light, into the love.
Okay. And going back to the film, how was the experience of filming it? Is this something that you've done before? And where did the idea come from? And how did you feel about having these sessions filmed for everyone to see? What was your opinion on that?
Well, first of all, I would say it's extremely courageable and extremely honorable for Joel and Timia to be able to expose their truth. Because it's something that we fear consistently, and we build those masks, and we build all of those expectations and fears. that if somebody truly knew how we are inside, they will reject us. But when you work with a client to help them raise their vibration, they come into their own awareness that what really matters is love, outside of all those disempowered states. Now, filming and bringing the idea in there, it's basically, it was a co-creation of all of us involved, me, Joel, and Timia. Now, living my illusion, it's when I started working with Joel, one thing I truly noticed about him, that consistently he was living an illusion and he did not have anybody to put a clean mirror in front of him and saying, what does this behavior truly represent? But it was the same with Timia, because we tend to build those expectations and we don't voice them. And we tend to have those things that we create in our head about how life should be, how the relationship should be, how the marriage should be. And therefore, when something happens down the line, we don't voice it, because the fear of the other person might be leaving, not realizing that the pressure will build up. And at some point, it will be either it will show through an illness, it will show through a divorce or behaviors or drinking or drug taking. It does not matter. So coming together to really agree to film Living My Illusion, I think it's a brave act, and it's a unique documentary for somebody to really have that bravery to go on camera. For me as an expert, it wasn't a problem, because I've already gone through that journey. Already written everything needs to be written in #loneliness about my life. So there's no room for any reporters to find any dirt behind my life. I actually exposed it myself. And when you are like that, you're free. Meaning you have this sense of freedom, because you will inspire other people who really feel in fear. And I've had over 2,000 personalized messages, people who read #loneliness, who's somewhere within #loneliness, they connect to that. They connect to their loneliness, they connect to their abuse, they connect to their bullying, they connect to their fears, they connect to being migrants, refugees, whatever it might be. They connect to being redundant. So really, Living My Illusion represents something that every human being is going through. And how do we find our truth? In a world which is so busy, which is so noisy, constantly bombarded visually, we have a visual rape nowadays. So on top of that, we have a sound rape. And we have social media rape. Yeah. You know, we get all of this information. Where is it going to stop? So Living My Illusion, it's in a way, it's a global call for humanity, for every human being to stop, self-reflect, rethink, and redirect their life towards living in love, in life, and in wisdom.
Okay, it's very powerful. And what I wanted to actually talk about next is you say that the truth of everything is love, or not to, I don't want to paraphrase you, but you say that the love is everything in the end. So how did you get to that? How did you get to that notion?
With 30 years of research, study, and investment in personal development, spiritual development, and business development, and actually working with some of the top people, reading over 15,000 books for the last 35 years, and actually truly understanding consciousness and understanding the science and understanding how we behave at a quantum level and how that applies to us as human beings at the macro level. So when I started really looking into how maths, science, and physics with spirituality, they actually are a beautiful harmony together. And we get taught what love means from different people, but it's a different journey when you actually go within yourself and find out truly what love is, outside of the injected values and outside what the society and what everyone else tells you. And that is truly an inner journey that I help many of my clients to go through. Because I've seen thousands of clients, and I've seen people who are in a relationship in similar situation with Joel and Timia that we talk about in Living My Illusion. Somebody says, I love you, but their behaviors do not match. Somebody says to you, I love you, but there is a but behind that. Somebody says to you, I love you, but there are many conditions for you to be loved. It's the same with our parents. Our parents taught us about love with multiple conditions in order to make us do what they wanted us to do. That's not kind of love I'm talking about. Yeah. That kind of love I'm talking about when you are able to see the support and the challenge in every situation, in every thought, in every behavior, in every value you uphold true. And the problem is, most of us, we think that our values do not change. It's the same as taking a computer, which is, DOS computer, and comparing to Windows 10 computer. Of course they change.
Yeah.
And we change over a lifetime, but we tend to have this arrogance about ourselves, where we think like, we're holding strong, this is my value.
Yeah.
But if I go and look at their values and I look at their life, believe me, none of those do not match. Yeah. And people are so used to telling lies.
Yeah.
And creating those illusions.
It's a bit like someone once said that, you know, people make a choice about which political party they follow, and then they spend the rest of their lives trying to justify that choice.
Yeah.
Instead of doing it the other way around, looking, you know, and changing their opinion. There's nothing wrong with changing your opinion. So this goes a long way
to Brexit.
Yeah. Well, for anything, no, just keep Brexit out of it, I think. But in general, people just tend to make a decision or a choice in life, and then they are, you know, it's as if they have to prove something to someone or everyone about why they made that decision, and they don't back down. It's very hard to get people to admit that they've made a mistake to themselves, let alone everyone else. So I'm guessing this goes a long way in what you do. You try to get people to reflect on themselves and to realize that actually they are lying to themselves and therefore to everyone else, and they're hurting themselves and everyone else, including the people that they love the most, when in fact they're trying, or they believe they are trying to protect them. Am I getting that correct?
Yes, in a way, basically, if we were to look the source energy that goes into every human being, that source energy has tremendous intelligence. And therefore, most people do not activate different parts of those intelligence that is within us. Now, that intelligence knows what's true, what's not. Okay? Despite of our awareness of it, it knows what's true, and therefore your body will react to it. So I've seen people in a relationship who come to me and say to me, and this was recent, I was abroad working with a client, and they said to me, oh, I love my wife. And the question was, when was the last time you had sex with your wife? 9 months ago. But the first awareness is, I love my wife. Then I asked the wife, oh, I love my husband. When was the last time, intimately, he touched you? Oh, I can't remember, we have kids. Okay? So this intelligence within ourselves, if it's not really truly enhanced and listened to, and we bring our conscious awareness in it, it will run our life without control. And most people feel that the control, it's about controlling others. And usually when it comes to that love, people control one another. So when we were working at LMI, I saw so much of all of those different layers, both of in my clients, in Timia and in Joel, without them being aware how they're controlling one another. Through their words, through their actions, through their habits, through their behaviors, through the things they were doing together, without realizing that the love that they think they have is just the illusion of it, but not the true companionship, the true thing that basically you honor one another. And you honor your own truth, and then you honor the whole experience you create together. So I call it, evolutionary duo. That's the term, I coined that term. When two people come together and they evolve together. And it's not because I'm telling you to evolve, because your inner desire wants to evolve with this person who's next to you. So there's no controlling mechanism in place in that, because both people are self-aware and they can rethink and reassess every situation, and therefore they know they have a common goal. But most people end up in the wrong situation with the wrong people in the wrong relationship.
One more question. The response you've had for this film so far, from what I understand, has been pretty phenomenal. You've won the Los Angeles Film Awards, you've won the Hollywood Documentary Awards, and you've won the UK Film Awards. I mean, tell us, you know, how do you feel about that? Did you think this was going to have such an impact, or, you know, are you taken by surprise, or did you always know it was going to be a hit?
A mixture of all. Because going through the filming of LMI and knowing Joel and knowing his desires and knowing Timia and knowing the powerful message that the documentary has, I was very certain with the right push, with the right, I would say, launch, with the right marketing and bringing that to the awareness of certain people, the documentary will be a success globally. And reason being, it's because we are so used to watching things that do not nurture our soul, do not really help us be who we are, and does not really support us when we wake up in the morning to feel like, oh my God, I'm honoring my truth. So knowing that and knowing how many people in the world suffer, knowing how many people in the world go through divorce, we have almost more than 50% of people in the world who go through divorce. Okay? Knowing what happens to them individually, we have so many women who are single mothers and struggling in their lives to run the family, the babies, and the business, whatever. And we have men who are not as used to emotionally express themselves. So knowing all of those things, I knew we have an amazing product for the world, a product that is inspirational, a product that makes you really think, and a product that is very raw and it's not really directed. So something that it's very unique in the world, being able to capture those sessions, being able to ask powerful questions from my clients to share openly what really happens. And not many people have that kind of bravery.
Yeah,
you know, we want to have that bravery when we watch something like that. We all love movies. We all feel inspirational when we come out of a movie that really inspires our heart. And this is what, when we started on this project, all three of us were aligned to that. Me and Joel were aligned very quickly. But Timia, it took her a bit longer because for a woman to be able to share her private life, it's extremely fearful and extremely challenging. And, you know, the cameras, the world will be judging, both of them, including myself.
Yeah.
So this is how we are. We live in a world where consistently we will be bombarded, either by challenge or by support. People are in their own awareness and have that self-reflective awareness. They will use it to empower themselves. People who are disempowered, they will judge it. And it's okay. People have opinions. We are designed to have opinions. We are designed to have meaning. The thing that I wanted for both of my clients, being able to be strong and to be able to handle every question, every opinion, so it does not really impact them and does not impact on their journey and creating the follow-up documentaries.
Okay, so there's more to come.
There's more to come, yes.
Okay, perfect. How do you think people are going to have a positive reaction to it? I mean, some people might look at it and say, you're literally in these people's lives. You're in a position of potential abuse. How would you reply to that? And a lot of people, because I'm sure you're going to get this. A lot of people are going to have a negative reaction from it, possibly because they would be fearful of being in that situation themselves or letting go in the way that this film sort of portrays Joel doing. So what's your reply to them?
As an expert, I can bring them to their own awareness that love is above fear.
So to call you.
It's basically, look at the situations like we have today. Look at Trump situation. Okay, a lot of people judge Trump.
Yeah.
But there has a lot of people who followed and elected him as a president. Yeah. So no matter what you do in life, you will have those people. Yeah. So as an expert, I'm not really bothered by outside opinions. I respect everybody's opinion, and therefore, if I get somebody who asks me a question, with clarity, you can bring this person to their own awareness of the importance of this documentary or what we cover in the documentary. There's no man in the world who does not go through midlife crisis. Yeah. Whether we have fear and express that, different issue. There's no man in the world who does not want to live their truth. And there's no woman on the planet who wants to be in a relationship that is not empowering. So I do not really see that there will be a problem. So far we've had an amazing views, and yes, we've had questions like that, but both Timia, Joel, and myself are equipped to being able to actually answer them with love. And when you approach somebody with love, they come to their own understanding how this is important for them, not for us.
Okay, perfect. Tony J Selimi, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.